Dogs. Yes, Wes Anderson is back in animation in order to deliver us another stop-motion movie. The first time the acclaimed filmmaker added an animated film onto his legacy was with Fantastic Mr. Fox back in 2009. I will admit, when I first saw it back when I started reviewing movies, I wasn't too familiar with his works, and I found the film to be odd, but still pretty good. I think I gave it like an 8 out of 10 at the time. But nowadays, after re-watching it several times and be more acquainted with Anderson's unique cinematic vision, I would say that not only would I find this to be one of the best stop-motion animated films, but also one of my favorite stop-motion films. So if I didn't give it my seal of approval then, I'll be more than happy to do it now. When the announcement was made that Wes would make another stop-motion animated feature, I was definitely excited to see more of the magic of Fantastic Mr. Fox in a brand new story. So now that we're heading to Japan in Trash Island, will we see that Wes is good with dogs as much as with foxes? Or does the quality match what the island is made of? Let's find out. The story. In his previous animated adventure, Wes Anderson's main mission with the story is to adapt a classic book into his vision. For Isle of Dogs, however, the story is mainly focused on world building. Set in a distant future Japan, the mayor of Megasaki City demanded a complete exile of dogs due to their overpopulation and their sickness was starting to spread onto humans. So the dogs are left in an island made entirely out of trash, while the people of the city would ultimately decide what to do with the dogs in the meantime. It is clear that this is one of the elements that the movie is interested in telling the most, and it made sure to execute it the best it can. It takes its time to immerse audiences into the environment and give a good explanation regarding the backstories of everything that happened that led to this one part of Japan to declare war on dogs. The feature also added a bit of a commentary on political corruption with the literal representation of cats versus dogs, where the leaders will do anything they can to advance their agenda against all canines, while young students know that something is up and are determined to stop them. It also admirably got creative in terms of how to deliver this story. The humans, with the exception of a couple of people, all speak Japanese, while the dogs are said to have their barks translated onto English, or whichever language you intend to watch it. Interestingly enough, very rarely does it ever bring up subtitles outside of anything that's written. The film would often provide a translator that cleverly blends into the story to both have non-Japanese speaking people understand, and for the translator to have a function within the world.
Calling for a hasty quarantine, the expulsion and containment of all breeds, both stray and domesticated. By official decree, Trash Island becomes an exiled colony.
But then you have the actual plot itself, which debatably can be the weakest asset of the film. What the movie is about is more of your typical rescue mission, where a boy named Atari is looking for his dog Spots and would later have to save all the dogs. In a way, this can be perceived as predictable, but the movie already has enough on its plate with the world building and political message, so it's kind of understandable that it already has a lot to say. That, and the plot's execution is done well thanks to the focus of the characters and their relationship with one another. The story certainly has plenty to offer, but it's from its great execution that makes it all count. The animation. What makes a Wes Anderson movie unique and memorable is how he incorporates his own style of symmetry and flat compositions onto the screen. Even when he transitioned onto animation, his cinematic vision translated very well into the film to give it a strong look. This movie is no exception. In fact, it was created for this style. What makes the animation work is how it puts emphasis onto the subtlety instead of making this feel grand. Yes, the animators had to build these impressively large sets to make the city and find all the creative ways to build Trash Island, but they're meant to be big in order to prominently present the open spaces. How even with a large cast of dogs, most everything around the characters feel empty, and even with a lack of depth, it helps the film to only want to show to its audience what's on screen and not bother about what can be happening outside of the borders. This allows the animators to play around with what they can fill on the screen and where the characters can be posed to have them be well presented. Another unique aspect about the movie is how everything is made entirely from stop motion. If not, then I would say about 99% of it. Not only were the dogs, humans, and the sets can be seen as physically there, but also the effects are entirely handmade, which gives a refreshing feeling from seeing all those mainstream movies that heavily integrate CGI.
A rancid apple core, 2 worm-eaten banana peels, a moldy rice cake, a dried-up pickle, tin of sardine bones, a pile of broken eggshells, an old smushed-up rotten gizzard with maggots all over it.
Okay, it's worth it.
As for the characters, the designs are meant to echo the look of ancient Japanese art, but put onto a 3D environment where the color schemes are more prominent than their details. In terms of their movement, while it's all very well done, it's from the dogs that highlight the animators' hard work. Not only have they studied well to get how they move and behave like a dog correctly, but also managed to bring out a smooth look onto the lip sync. Again, this movie wants its audience to pay attention to the little things instead of the big picture, and that helps make the stop motion the star of the feature as much as the cast is. Try to remember the title of this, because it will be used a lot in the future as a great example of stop-motion animation. The characters. Considering how some people may recognize this movie for its ridiculously large list of an all-star cast, some would expect that there would be tons of characters that will be highlighted throughout the movie. Well, technically, yes it does. But like with the story, the only issue they have is that there are so many that the film couldn't present them all prominently in that 100-minute time span. In fact, some of them are only there for a few minutes and not making much of an impact to the plot. Luckily though, each of these characters have their own memorable personality, and the ones that are more highly featured are written to be fascinating. I'll start things off with the main group of dogs that the film follows. Admittedly, only a few manage to stand out, like how Duke is highly knowledgeable on rumors around the island, and Rex wants to put his paw on the team as the responsible leader, but can often get overshadowed by Chief.
We get the idea. You're looking for your lost dog Spots. Does anybody know him?
No.
Speaking of which, Chief is actually the main character of the film. Unlike most dogs, he is a stray, and that's what gives him his tough personality. However, as the film would progress, he would start to grow a relationship with Atari, the kid who lived with his uncle, the evil Mayor Kobayashi, who was determined to find his best friend Spots. From there, he would start to open up his heart and discover more about his past as a stray and why he felt like he can't live the life of domestication. As for the others, again, they do play a significant part in the movie and contain a memorable asset, but they're not given a lot of screen time to be fully fleshed out characters. Tracy helps the political commentary to uncover the conspiracy that the mayor is trying to unleash onto the dogs. Mayor Kobayashi is the authoritarian mayor that wants to get rid of all the dogs with the help of his assistant Major Domo. Nutmeg is Chief's brief love interest. Jupiter and Oracle are the all-seeing wise dogs of the island, and the list goes on. Again, the only problem they have is that they don't appear enough to make a full impact. However, despite being overcrowded, the characters are individually well crafted to help bring life and some fun onto the feature. It's not every day that we get movies like this, which is why it's important to cherish them whenever they come by. Isle of Dogs is a wonderfully crafted original animated feature that took Wes Anderson's signature filmmaking and bring it to a whole new level. Sure, the movie may try to deliver too many elements at once, but it more than makes up for it with beautifully innovative animation, a cleverly written story, and many heartfelt and memorable characters. As for my recommendation, if it isn't obvious already, I'd say this is a must-watch for any fans of Wes Anderson, art house films, or anybody who loved the Fantastic Mr. Fox movie. In fact, as it is a one-of-a-kind feature, this is one of those that if you ever get the opportunity to watch it, then please do so. Stop-motion films are already a rarity as it is, but something like this where it fully embraces the medium is a true gem. And it's unique films like this that deserve to have the AniMat's seal of approval.
Really? Thank you very much. Wow.